You're welcome to the Naija Filmmaker, a podcast about Nigerian filmmakers, their films, and how we can build a diverse and functional industry. I'm your host, Selegot. On this episode, my guest is Bright Wonder. He's a writer, director, and founder of HD Film Academy and Studios. He is known for his most recent film, If I Was President. We talk about his happiest Nollywood moments, reflections on 10 years at the Film Academy, and his upcoming projects. If you're a new listener, you're welcome and I hope you enjoy. Hi, Mr. Bright. You're welcome to the Naija Filmmaker.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
So, can you introduce yourself?
Oh, yes. My name is Bright Wonder Obinobasi. I'm a filmmaker. I'm a writer, producer, director, and an acting coach. President of High Definition Film Academy. Studio. I'm the executive director of Film for Impact Foundation. So filmmaking is what I do generally. Yeah.
Can you tell us your earliest experience of filmmaking, how you got started in the industry?
Okay, so film. Okay, so I'm not one of those filmmakers or persons who would say film was there. I was born into filmmaking. Not really. I had finished my secondary school before I knew I was going to make film. It was just before I got into university. I started in my drama group in church. And Alumni theater, where I was acting majorly. Then I wrote my very first script, in school then. In church. I wrote my very first script, a short film we did in church, crucial 5 minutes. Then I got into the university. I did my first major work in university in my third year. That was 2003. Love Tones was my very first work. So it was more like a movie on stage, and I was in my fellowship theater through that's Shekinah Theater, Castle Futo. So it all started in Futo, really. That's how it started. And then, I kept learning, until I left school, came into Abuja, there was this theater troupe, not really a theater, more like a film production house in Kubwa then, Firebrands, I had to go there, worked with Firebrand for a while, made my trial films, but I made my very first feature film in 2011. That was after I started my organization, High Definition Film Academy. In 2011 was my debut, and I made Away From Home, my very first film.
Yeah.
And Away From Home was the film that gave birth to my next film, which is Broken. Broken was the groundbreaking film for me in 2000. It was shot in 2012, released in 2013.
Yeah.
That was the film that really positioned me in the industry. It's the film through which a lot of people started identifying with my work. And it's the film that got me Nollywood movie nomination, 6 nominations then, So that was my big break. My big break came in 2013 with Broken. So from Broken, it's been, one step higher, down to 2018 when I made my last film from President, 2018. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about Broken. What was Broken about, and why did you choose this particular story?
Broken is a story about some say it's a story about child abuse, but not just about child abuse. Actually, a story about parenting. The fact that a lot of what we find in society today is people can just have a fling and a baby emerge from that, and they are not ready to take that responsibility. So we're saying, if you must have such kind of relationships, then be ready for what comes out of it.
Yeah.
And kids should not be left in the streets, to grow on their own, because a lot of the reason society is cracking down today is because the home is broken. So when the home is broken, the parents are broken, everywhere is broken. So the society itself becomes broken. So I wanted to tell a story that mirrors society. I mean, those are more or less the kind of stories I am more passionate about telling. I want to tell stories that impact society in one way or another. So for me, At that point, I thought of a couple of stories, but Broken was the one that sat well with me. Tell the story of the child who gets to experience the frustration and the life gives when parents do not do their job and how it gets to affect society. So that was what led to Broken. So Broken tells the story of this guy, these siblings, three of them, who had various experiences as a product of the fact that their parents neglected their duties, separated, and both of them went their way to marry their own, to build another family.
Yeah.
Leaving behind these kids to the harshness of society, and they grew, on rough grounds, and at the end they became a thorn in the flesh of their parents. So these parents, these two people have got to unite to find a way to salvage, the situation and save the lives of their children and also stabilize their current families.
Okay. For you as a young filmmaker in 2011, 2012, what were some of the films that inspired you? Like, what kind of formed your point of view as a director?
Okay, I've always, I wouldn't say I grew up liking, but at some point, I became very inclined to Mel Gibson's film.
Yeah.
Things like Braveheart. Braveheart, I've watched that movie a lot of times. Braveheart was a film that really touched me so much. It's the film that also linked me up with Mel Gibson. And after Braveheart, I watched a couple of his other films too, The Patriot and all that. And somehow I think this fire about trying to do films that would impact society positively, it's always been there. But watching films like Braveheart, watching films like The Patriot, watching some other films like that, it activated that part of me. And then my religion too. I mean, I'm a Christian, and then I also want to tell stories that powers my faith.
Yeah.
And so watching him do the movie like Passion of the Christ 2, it's told, I've watched a lot of films about the birth and death of Christ, but none was as powerful and two of the films by Tyler Perry. Amidst other directors, good directors in Hollywood, people like James Cameron, whose Titanic blew my mind, and his Avatar, and a couple other directors. Yeah, I appreciate these people. I appreciate their film, but people like Mel Gibson left an imprint inside of me that when you look at a couple of my films, you'll see, some tendencies, like that. So I think growing up as a young filmmaker, those were some of the things that inspired my work.
Okay. So let's talk about your latest film, If I Am President.
Yes.
It came out just before the 2019 Nigerian elections.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was the story behind making that film?
Okay, so If I'm President basically is still me trying to use my craft, use my power as a filmmaker to speak to society. It's I want to make great films, but most importantly, I want to make films that affect society positively.
Yeah.
So I thought of what to talk about, and at that time, I realized that it was in 2018, so a lot was tending towards the elections, and I thought about it. Everybody complains about the society. Everybody complains about governance in this country. Everybody says so much. We are also victims. We are both victims and accomplices at the same time. So I wanted to tell a story that reflected that the society in that light. It's a path least treaded. A lot of people don't tread that. I want to do more of 100% commercial flick, but I knew it was a story I was passionate about telling. So I wanted to tell a story that over time, not a story that will end today. If I'm president, will be evergreen as long as this nation, not just this nation, nations in the continent of Africa and beyond remain. So I want to tell the story that has that sort of longevity and relevance across decades. If I'm president, came to mind, tell a story of a great nation that needs to rise to save a great continent like Africa, but it's being ripped apart by corruption, and that's basically what inspired my rising to tell that story if I'm president.
Yeah. Just like 2018 when you released this film, when the year just before the general elections in Nigeria,
Yes.
2023, do you feel that the themes you addressed in If I'm President, do you feel as a country we have learned our lessons and kind of evolved from that, or was we still have a lot of lessons to learn?
Truth is that we really do have a lot of lessons to learn. And when I was making the film, I didn't know that what we're doing, I didn't know that the journey was actually a marathon. I thought it was a sprint. I thought it was a 100 or 200 meters race. But I mean, over time taught me that no, it's a marathon. It's not going to happen now. That's why right now a lot of people are still talking about the film, and so many people are saying, please, every Nigerian, every youth has to watch this film before 2023 election. When it comes to 2027, I think that same conversation will rise. In 2031, it will rise because the film is evergreen. So people will keep learning and keep applying, but I've come to understand that this will take time. Nigeria is not going to transit overnight, so it's going to take time. But I can assure you that, I look at the feedbacks, over 4,000 feedbacks on YouTube. I realized that yes, the film is achieving its purpose, but it's going to be one person at a time. It's not going to affect that totally. So one person at a time. So when I hear people say in this election in 2023, no, I must go get my PVC. No, I must do this. No, I will rise and do this. Yes, so it means the behavioral change we're looking forward to achieving with the film is being achieved. But it's just going to happen step by step, slowly. So yes, it's achieving its purpose, but it will take time.
Yeah. And yeah, I think, film is a good way to kind of hold up a mirror against society for us to see what we're all about. And this film is going to, be that kind of reference to where we were in 2018, 2019, 100 years from now. We'll know what the polity and the country was all about.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's take a bit of a detour. Can you mention 3 random facts about you that not many people know?
Okay. Random facts about me. I think many people don't know. Okay. I'm a very great acting coach, which I think it's only students who come to the academy really know that part of me.
Yeah.
People who come to the academy engage that, but that's actually one of my strongest strengths. I'm a very strong actor director. And so it's a part of me I'm looking forward to expose this year by not just boxing it within the academy. So only the actors who come to train here, do that. So that's a major part of me. Yes, I want to, put out there, of course, then screenplay too, Yeah, people know I wrote If I'm President. But I think I'm not doing much with that, with my writing capacity. I don't do too many things in film. I write, produce, direct, yes, but I think the greatest strength lies with writing and of course, training actors and of course, directing. So to a large extent, some of the things I would have mentioned, I think somehow people know about it. People know about my family. They know I'm married, I have 3 kids. And yes, when it comes to using the stage, I can use my stage very well. Yeah. But I'm very conservative with a lot of other things. Yes. I'm very conservative. Okay, I think one major thing, yes, people don't know. People don't know a lot of, people who knew me from school, they know that part. But after, say, from 2009 to 2010, after then, I think a lot of people who know me today, they don't know I sing.
Okay.
Very well. They don't know. Yes, I released my first album in 2009. Like, I think 90 to 95, 98% of people that know me don't know that, yes, I do music. Yes, but I do. I do music, I sing, and I'm hoping that my brain will calm down again to be able to, do some of those great music I mean, right in school, I was known for music because before I was ever known for film.
Yeah.
So a lot of people thought I was going to, that was my path. Music was my path. But I realized I had more comparative advantage with film, so I did film
Uh,
more. But I think the music will soon come again.
okay, so let's talk about you as an acting coach. What's your approach? How do you normally work with people that are looking to improve their acting?
Okay, so basically what I've done all the while, it's been in the at the academy, so students come. Currently, I have new students that I'm training. But like I said, this year I'll be launching out my acting stuff, my acting portfolio fully, so that people from all across the world, not just Nigeria now, wherever you are in the world, they will be able to access, my trainings. There are different packages I currently will be running. So people from every part of the world approach it. But in terms of training actors, as humans, we don't have strengths in everything. For me, one of those strengths, when somebody has five talent, another has three, another has two, one, some have one. For me, one of the talent I've been given is to train actors. That's why if you watch any of my films, from Broken to from Away from Home to Broken to even President, every one of you will discover something about the artistic delivery, the actors. They're
Yeah.
always strong. I think here also is one of those persons whose student, while Abuja was still not very popular on the film radar, three of my students, that was as far back as 2013, three of my students was nominated for Nollywood Movie Awards. In acting category, Ike was nominated for Best Actor alongside OCKJ, who finally won it. And
Yeah.
then Taylor was nominated for Best Uprising, and Mary Chico was nominated for Best Supporting. So, and then of course some of other students were also nominated for other stuff with other awards. So because that's actually my strength,
Yeah.
so I can see through actors and can help them be better. So whether it's you want to prepare for an audition or you want to prepare for a role, especially like preparing for a role, how to doctor it. Now, because I'm a director,
Mm.
it's also a strength. So I can see with the eyes of a director when training actors. So what would a director be looking for? What is a director that knows what he's doing? What would he be looking for? I'm an actor and I'm a director. So
Yeah.
those two strengths combined together, uh, I'm not just an actor, I'm a good actor. I think people say that very much. So it's just that I don't like being in front of the screen. So the being behind the screen, more or less, I'm a kingmaker. I may not be the king. I just want to make kings, so I want to make the actors.
Yeah.
So because I have that eye, I'm able to train the actors to give directors what they want.
Yeah.
So it's something I've done across 18 years and so much experience. So whatever actor I have to work with, I think they always come out better than they ever met the production. Yeah.
So yeah, you just finished talking about how you kind of coach the actors to be ready to go for auditions and also interpreting roles. But as a director, what do you do to create an environment where the actor can deliver their best work?
Okay, so currently the directors that are training at the academy, they take some courses in the acting class. It's acting for directors.
Yeah.
A director needs to understand how actors think. You need to understand how actors think. If you understand how actors think and you understand the processes of actors, you'll be able to better direct them. I mean, one of the questions a student asked me 2 days ago is, sir, what if a situation where I know that what I'm trying to put forth is good, but the director does not really want it that way? Like I'm trying to deliver my character in a very calm, articulate way that conveys emotion, but he wants me to shout and all that. I will always tell them, well, the director calls the shots. Whatever the director wants is what the film is going to be. So, but you also want to pray to always have directors who know what they're doing and who understand acting properly, so they can guide you. Because working with actors is more or less actors handing their career into your hands, and you just need to be good to direct them properly. So to understand actors is very important for you to be able to direct them. Example, if you want an actor to cry, or there's a scene where your actor is going to cry, you don't want to tell the actor, so in this scene now, you're very, very sad.
Yeah.
and you need to cry. So try to sad, feel sad and cry. That's not an actor's language. An actor doesn't understand that language. You need to create the elements the actor understands. If you create the elements and create the psychological environment to enhance the actor's ability. Once you create the environment, the actor understands the elements in that environment. And if the actor can relate to those elements, the tears is just the result. So when they can relate to the elements you've created, the truth is that the end product will be gotten. So the tears will not look forced. It will look natural.
Yeah.
So create the environment for them. And to create that environment, you must understand the dynamics of the actor. How does the actor think? How does the actor process his or her thoughts? How does the actor understand or interpret languages and scripts and all that? If you understand that, you'll be able to better create it. And of course, 65% of directing is casting.
Yeah.
So if you don't cast properly, you're already having it wrong. So you want to cast actors at first. They suit the role, whether aesthetically first, and then of course they'll fit it aesthetically, but also potency-wise, they should be able to deliver the character. So it means you now need to trust them. If you trust your actors very well, because you've selected good actors, then you've got to trust them. If they know you trust them, they are likely to give their best. So you trust them, tell them you trust them, tell them you believe they can deliver the best. And also not just tell them, show them. And not always trying to override everything. Be open. You have to be very open to also accept their opinion and thoughts. I will always want to discuss with my actors, what do you think about the role? What do you see? It makes them share in the process. And if they share in the process, they build more confidence. They like you. They believe you trust them. So they are not in a haste to prove anything to you. They know you already believe and trust them. And in that environment alone is an environment that psychologically positions them to be able to deliver for you. So these are the processes, I always apply to get my actors to perform better.
Okay. The making of films, they thrive on trust and collaboration. The writer writes the script, and it's the job of the director to, interpret that with the help of the actor. So what is your point of view with actors improvising as opposed to sticking to what is on the page?
Okay, but I mean, this is also what I train my actors for. I train my actors. When I start training my actors, I tell them professionally, you are not licensed to improvise on a script. Don't come to a production like people who come with the idea that a script is just a guide. Use your words. There's nothing like that. If you want to be a professional, you read the script word for word. And if you're going to be changing anything, please consult your director. Talk with your director before you shoot. Don't wait to take everybody by surprise. There's no surprise thing in film. It's a collaborative work. But should you start performing and something comes up and there's need for an improvisation anywhere at all, trust me, a director who understands what he's doing too. Should you improvise and it works better, he would allow it. But if it does not work, if he's going to negate something somewhere, he will call your attention and say, no, I know this isn't bad, but if you say this, look at what it's going to affect here. So just say this particular word the way it is. So a director will do that. But generally, as an actor, don't aim at improvisation. Aim at let your improvisation, in fact, let your power be shown in the interpretation of the lines in the script, not in adding your own lines. There's a writer who wrote it, there's a director, there's a lot of people who have gone through that script before it came to you. So don't try to add your own lines. That shouldn't be your goal. Your goal is to add so much with your interpretation of the story, great interpretation of the story, not the lines.
What is that one movie or TV series that you always love to rewatch?
This is really tough. It's tough because I think that a few of them I've rewatched, but if I'm to choose just one, it's going to be Designated Survivor. Designated Survivor, it's a series I've watched more than, I can't remember how many times, or more than 5 times.
What was special about it?
Well, what was special about it is that Designated Survivor is like a non-president. So they are story-wise. So there's a lot, about it that connects to my persona. It connects to my persona because if I'm president, Zinachi's voice in the president is like me talking to the nation. Do
Yeah.
you get? So it connects to me in deeper ways than just being a film. Do you get? So that's
Yeah.
why, not like it's the best film or series out there, but it connects to me in ways deeper than just a film. Yeah.
At this point, yeah, we'll talk about the High Definition Film Academy.
Okay.
Yeah, congrats on celebrating 10 years of the academic's existence
Yeah.
last
Yeah.
year. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what pushed you to start the academy?
Yes, I've always wanted to train people. I've always wanted to impact knowledge. So right from my days, even in the university, I had a production house, which basically what I was doing there is training people. I would train them to work on productions and all that. So I grew with that out of school into the city of Abuja, and I've always done this training. So, and I realized at the time that there was so much film trainings or academy. So it's something I always wanted to do. So what I always wanted to do, I decided to make a life out of it, make it my life, train people, impact people. Even when I'm not doing that at the academy, I'm doing it and elsewhere. I'm doing something. I'm always training people. I'm always mentoring people. So it's a huge part of me. That's really what gave birth to the academy.
Okay. And yeah, how has it been these past 10 years? What have been some high and low points?
I think the greatest point, is financing. Financing on something you always people people want to be trained. That's the truth. But I think for now, film education isn't something that people are really able to afford much yet, as they would want to. People are not really able to afford it that much. So we can't put the kind of fees we should put to be able to achieve the kind of result we desire.
Yeah.
So you need certain people, you need frontliners to come and train. You need also your facilitators to be well remunerated and all that. Sometimes you need to bring them from outside your region. Sometimes they are within the region, but they have to do this, as a source of living and pour their entire spirit into it.
Yeah.
But the tuition people get to pay, we understand that people are not yet able to afford it so much. So I think that's one of the biggest challenge we've had running the academy. And so you've got to fight it. If you don't have the passion to really impact knowledge or train, trust me, you quit. Because if you want to look at the rate of returns, the returns on investment, you run away. But the academy is more than just this training. There are lots that are tied to the academy, even the productions we run. So for us, it's all working out. It's all working together. And I mean, we're in it for the long run.
Yeah.
That's why we're not quitting. That's why we're not going there. Yeah. So we started it. We started out and we had in mind we're in this for the long run. And trust me, in the next couple of years, whatever I'm saying right now may not hold water because people will be more equipped to want to pay the kind of resource we need to run, and we'll get the kind of support too we need to run the academy. So yeah, it's going to work out.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask that despite the financial constraints, what keeps you going? I guess you'd say it's passion, right?
Yes, of course. That's it. It's passion. It's training is me, it's ingrained in me. So even when it's not working out financially, especially like you might want it or to sustain, build itself like it should, we're in this for something much bigger.
Yeah.
We're changing narratives. We're influencing people's destinies. We're changing lives, transforming societies. So there's something bigger, and it's all working out perfectly.
Okay. 10 years is a big milestone. When you hit that kind of milestone, sometimes you decide to maybe look back and maybe realign yourself with the goals that you set at the beginning, or take things in a new direction. For HD Film Academy, what should we expect next?
Okay, so for us, we consider the last decade as a learning curve. We learned a lot. We made a lot of mistakes. We made a lot of trials. We climbed a lot of mountains and found ourselves in a lot of valleys, pitfalls, and rise up. So we feel that all those, they formed more like a base for us a springboard for us to soar. So most of what we've learned, in our first decade, here is where we're doing the full application. We're more adventurous. We're more ambitious in our pursuit, both in terms of the kind of films we want to make. Every film we made, not even as with the exception of Ivan President, every film we made for us is a learning curve. I think this is really when we now want to make, the kind of films we would want to associate ourselves with. Referencing Ivan President, which we believe it's a good one, but I mean the series which currently has been developed completely in terms of the screenplay. It's the film is just as good as people would say the film is, but it's just it's just based for where the series is. The series is highly more powerful than the movie itself is. And we couldn't have made it this great without having done the movie. So the movie was a stepping stone to the series. Likewise, every other project we've worked on. Likewise, the academy. Everything at the academy, has changed in terms of upgrading, reinventing ourselves to do better. So we consider everything that happened in the first decade as a learning curve to be able to position ourselves. In terms of the productions we do and the trainings we do and the kind of students that will come out of the academy, the result in general, I think it will be far much more associated with excellence on all fronts.
Okay. Have you been keeping in touch with ex-students? Like, how are they doing in the industry?
Currently, I think we can't say we're keeping in touch with all of them, but I think we're keeping in touch with a lot of them, most of them actually, the alumni. Some of them, a couple of them are not really, or if some of them are not really practicing film, but a lot of them are. We have actors who are currently frontline. When it comes to the industry, they are doing very well. We have producers who are producing for major distribution networks. We have directors who are also directing for major directing major projects and production. Likewise, producers. So they are doing well. We have the ones who are currently top, as when you say top editors in Nigeria and the rest of it. So
yeah,
a couple of our students are doing very well. And alumni, yes, we're in touch. We have an alumni forum where we reach out to them. We also have packages that should always bring them home, such a way that like whether it's use of facility or equipment, they still get what we call the alumni discount.
yeah.
It still supports whatever they're doing. So yes, we keep in touch.
Okay. So let's say you went to a secondary school and money is not the problem. If you are going to try and convince secondary school students to join the academy, so what are some of the benefits of learning from a film school?
I think one of the strongest thing a film school does for people is networking. It provides a very strong. I mean, a lot of our students that met themselves here, they are doing big things together. So some of what is taught in school here, people can go online and learn it.
Yeah.
So what can you not get online? You can't get direct mentorship. But here you're getting direct mentorship. Even after class, people are mentored by facilitators.
Yeah.
You can get direct mentorship. You can also have access to the equipment, the high-level equipment you will need to produce or work on whatever you want to work on. And then that networking is unparalleled. These are some of the major things people will get from the academy. You network, and then you have, a couple of our students currently, after their program here, maybe they do a 3 months or 6 months program. Some of them advance to schools in the UK, US, Canada, different places.
Yeah.
And just by recommendation of the academy, which we've done a couple of it, they're already there. We also get referrals. We've gotten a call, we've gotten calls from agents, even agents who want to relocate students to UK. And they're asking us to recommend our students, actors who they would have to bring to the UK industry, but they're looking for young talent, young African talent. We've done those kind of recommendations. We've gotten recommendations. We had to do recommendations for next, when recruitment for a Netflix project. So we've had talent competitions and all that, we always reach out to the academy, recommend these organizations like the UNDP and the rest of them have wanted to do stuff, and they will reach out. Can you recommend cinematographers? Can you recommend? So we do a lot of referrals, a lot of recommendations, a lot of talent, support programs. So those are some of the things people couldn't have just gotten outside, but they get in being a part of the academy.
Okay. You talked about competitions. You're a significant part of the Script to Screen Africa reality show.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you talk more about it?
Okay, Script to Screen Africa is a reality show. It's a filmmaking reality show, but it's not just a filmmaking reality show. It is centered on bringing into a house people who are not just going to make film, but they are also interested or passionate about using film to drive positive change. Yeah. So we bring them, train them, and then support them to make projects, and also, they get rewarded in some way, whether they are winning something, and be a part of huge projects too. So it is for passionate filmmakers who are passionate about using film to drive positive change. Yeah, that's what Script to Screen is.
Okay. And why did you specifically choose the reality show format to send across these ideas?
Basically, it's because we know the power that reality show wields. Reality show has very strong power, captivates people. So no matter what we want to do, especially when you're doing something impact, sometimes it could be boring. Like a lot of people will not watch documentaries and all that. There are a lot of entertaining documentaries and so much. So we're looking for a platform to drive this great idea. The great idea is that, yes, we make films, but see, we can also use film to drive, great transformation in society. Yeah. So we wanted to use a vehicle. So the reality show is more or less just a vehicle that people appreciate. People like that vehicle. So we introduced that to use it to drive, these great minds, because yes, it's great minds we're reaching out to. Since they like reality shows, it will use the vehicle to get them on board, basically.
You also are part of Africa Film for Impact Festival and the foundation.
Yeah.
What's your focus as a festival?
Okay, so it's still the Film for Impact centric nature. So there are not much festivals yet that celebrate films that are made to drive positive change. So we thought of such a festival where people who make films to drive positive change could have their films screened to an audience that appreciate that kind of film or those films, but very importantly too, to bring them closer to the sponsors who sponsor those kind of films, because they are organizations that are interested in films to drive positive change. So we wanted to create a platform for the makers of those films and the drivers of the films and the sponsors of those films to meet in a festival.
Yeah.
So basically that's what inspired Film for Impact Festival.
Okay, and what time of the year does the festival hold?
So November, we've held it for 2 years now. It's both held in November.
Is it a festival that kind of incorporates screenings, workshops, and master classes? What kind of festival is it?
So we have, we started last year, 2 years ago, which is COVID-19 year, 2020. So it held virtually. But even while it's virtual, we still had our master classes. We had film screenings. We had workshops. And then, of course, we had seminars. And then we had an award. It always ended with an award. The most outstanding films in various categories are awarded. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well done. A lot of impact to be made.
Yeah.
Yeah. So far, what has been your happiest Nollywood moments? Something that happened in your line of work that made you really happy?
I think if I'll use the word happiest moment, going to Nollywood Movie Awards was not my happiest moment. I won Best Nigerian Comedy in 2015.
Yeah.
With the movie Diary of the Triplets. That wasn't my happiest moment. Ivan President screened at the other Africa Not Too Young to Run conference. That was a great moment for me. But I think my happiest moment is it's still evolving. Every time I go see what even president is, the kind of impact it's creating in the society. For me, I think that's what I would call my happiest. And
Yeah.
it's rolling. It's a rolling happiest moment, sort of. Because that film was designed for that purpose. The fact I see it achieving the purpose, for me, it's one of the greatest inspirations I have, even today. Working on the things I'm working on currently, that's one of the greatest inspiration, the greatest impact I draw inspiration from. So yes, that was what I would call my happiest.
Okay. Just like the High Definition Film Academy, Nollywood is also growing, but there are still some things that are holding us back as an industry. For you, what would you say we should focus on changing?
I've always said distribution is the biggest problem Nollywood has because I mean we have very limited cinemas, and if we create more distribution outlet, it will be better. But right now, I'm asking myself, and I'm not too sure. And I want to just say distribution because right now Netflix is here. I mean, this alternative distribution. Netflix is here, Amazon is here, HBO is coming. All of them are coming. So if there's anything we need to change, I think this is a time. If you're a filmmaker in Nigeria, it's a time where you need to do your homework very well because everything you need is here now. So I'm not really complaining about distribution anymore, even though there's still stuff that need to be done about distribution, especially as it concerns like cinema. So we can still screen in cinemas before we stream online and all that. But the way it's going, the society is really moving fast. So while cinemas are there, alternate distribution like these platforms right now, you may not take them away. So some film might just go there directly. So
Yeah.
the thing is, onus is now on us filmmakers to up our game, up our game, up our game. Spend more time. I mean, I just finished script conference with the president. I've never done that in my entire life. That I
Yeah.
spent just for a script workshop, script conference. The script has been written or everything finished, but I've spent over 1 million just to do development script conference. Do you get?
Yeah.
I've never done that. So for me, doing that now is a shift in my mindset, shift in perspective.
Yeah.
So I would say if you're going to say the script is the heart of it, the story is the heart of it. If you're making a film story, everybody's criticizing films now that were released. So they are saying the story is this, the story. So if everybody is saying the story is this, it's not enough to say it. Invest in it.
Yeah.
And that's really what I'm trying to do. So every filmmaker should invest in the process. The process of making this film is where we really need to spend more time. We spend more time, trust me, every other thing will work out well so that the films we churn out, I think that go to Netflix, Amazon, and the rest of them will be so great that Nollywood will rub shoulders with Hollywood and any other wood that exists. But if we don't do our homework well, it's not about the monies that are coming in, it's not about the big people. Them coming in is not enough. We need to give out great works out there, and the only way that will happen is us doing our homework properly.
Okay. Yeah, so what are you working on currently? Like, what's your next project? What's in the works?
Currently, I have a couple of things in the pipeline, but the major things I'm working on is If I'm President TV series and One Boy TV series. These are two major TV series I'm working on. And of course, this year also, at least people should also expect a major feature from me. I'll be working on a new feature this year.
Okay.
And of course, One Boy series and One President series are two major TV series that are currently ramping up the development going into pre-production.
Yeah. Are you going into production for any of these projects this year?
Yes, both of them are going to production this year. The movie is also going into production this year.
Okay. All right. Well done. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Lots of activity.
All right.
So yeah, how can people keep up with your work? What's your website, social media? Okay,
so for website, my personal website is yet to come up. It's the Academy's website, hdfilmacademy.com, www.hdfilmacademy.com. It has all about the Academy. And then for me, Bright Wonder HDFA, it's my handle on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Bright Wonder HDFA. I think on Twitter it's bwonder HD, bwonder HDFA, but Instagram is Bright Wonder HDFA. So I mean, through this you can keep in touch with me about it.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Mr. Bright, for coming on the podcast.
You're welcome. Thank you. I appreciate you greatly. And thanks for the great work you're doing. More grace.
Yeah, thank you. We have come to the end of this episode. Remember to rate and review the podcast. You can also follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Selego Film, and the podcast at the Naija Film Pod to share your feedback. You can now support the podcast by visiting the website to donate. See you on the next episode. Have a good one.